Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Building a More Perfect Union resource series. This series features resources that were created for and by K-12 teachers and students through a shared focus on the theme of building a more perfect union. The theme explores what's possible when learners and teachers have an opportunity to do place-based work that's meaningful to themselves and connected to their communities. Each episode that we're producing will feature a local project. And today I'm really excited to be here with Anne from the Redwood Writing Project. Anne and her team were working on a project called Studying and Teaching Our Complicated Histories. So I'm thrilled to have a chance to talk with you today. So I'd love for you, Anne, maybe just to introduce yourself first. I've been asking people as we do these to say something, some words or phrases that come to you when you think about building a more perfect union, and then maybe you can segue that into talking about your project and the resources you want to share today.
You bet. So my name is Anne Hartline, and I'm the Professional Development Coordinator for Redwood Writing Project. We're housed on the Cal Poly Humboldt campus, and we're obviously affiliated with the California Writing Project and the National Writing Project. So we're in Humboldt County, and Humboldt County is one of the furthest north counties in the large state of California. And one of the things that makes us truly unique up here is that we are geographically quite a large county, but we are population-wise, we have only 136,000 people in our entire county. And we're a county that's 85 miles long and 35 miles wide. And believe it or not, we have 32 school districts. So for that level, that total population and that many school districts, you can imagine we have many small rural schools. And one of the things that I think was so exciting about this project was that we were able to bring teachers together from all areas of our county. And there's nothing more charming than bringing fourth grade teachers from very diverse areas to talk about what they share in common, what their common goals and interests are, and learning from each other. So in terms of, Christina, you asked about, the words that I would think of, and I kind of thought about community, because in this case, we were our group that worked together. We're fourth grade teachers all the way through high school teachers. And we had high school teachers from several different content areas. And then we worked very closely with our university as well. So it was a nice melding, I think, of bringing our community together and working with our incredible resource of our local Cal Poly Humboldt. And then also collaboration. The comments I got at the end of the project were people feeling grateful that they'd had an opportunity to get to know and be seen by people who they wouldn't have otherwise met, and learning about things that were new to them was very, very exciting. So for me, it's community and collaboration is what I think of when I think of our idea for our project. So the concept for studying and teaching our complicated histories.
That's great. Thank you, Anne. Great. And as I said, I know I've seen some of this work because I've helped put some of it online at our teach.nwp.org website. Do you want to, I'll share and you can talk about sort of where these come from?
Sure. Well, and let me just say that kind of our focus in our studying and teaching our complicated histories was really, we wanted to learn about and discuss scholarly information, texts, and resources that focused on largely untold local histories, especially those in Humboldt County, but also in California. So while I know some of our resources are very specific to our county, I think there are other themes that resonate with the resources that we put together when we talk about communities inputted, where different communities are interacting and stories are getting told or not getting told. And especially today, I think when we're talking an awful lot about environmental, here in Humboldt County, we have an environmental past of accommodation and conflict involving logging and fishing and a variety of other things that we did in fact talk about during our complicated histories topics as well. So I'm hopeful that our resources that we have for teachers that there will be pieces maybe that you'll want to use the entire thing, but possibly some of our themes, as in we have one of the projects that you'll see is about the Save the Redwoods League and the forming of the national parks here in Humboldt County. And that is, I think, something that might be of interest, even though that's unique to our county, that theme of working together to make places, preserve places and make them special so people can see them is bigger. So. Okay. Oh, yeah.
This is the one here, right?
That's the one there. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's the one that was created by one of our, I believe Dana's a fourth grade teacher, and she is a teacher who does take her students up to the Redwoods. We have an opportunity to go up to a place called Wolf Creek, and fourth grade and fifth grade. Maybe Dana teaches fifth grade, excuse me. But Dana wanted to put together something as she prepared her students for that very exciting trip to stay in the Redwoods in cabins and learn from the rangers that are there.
Mm-hmm.
But she prepared a wide variety of materials that are some specific to that Wolf Creek experience, but also stuff, as you can see. Our project had 3 main pieces. We had a summer institute, we had 6 monthly follow-through history presentations, and then we had these focus groups. And one of the focus groups was civic engagement and civic journalism. Teachers chose the focus group that was of most interest to them. And so for that reason, some of the focus groups are a little larger than others, kind of based on what teacher interest was. And our civic engagement and civic journalism group, here you see the lesson plans they created. And I love the fact that, I mean, they're so varied. This, I believe, by Adam Pinkerton. He's a high school teacher. And this is a project that I think really will resonate. I think this is a project that would resonate with teachers across the country. It's not specific to Humboldt County, but it does allow students to come in and think about and talk about what they believe and make statements about what they believe, and put that out in the larger web environment and the larger environment in general. I love any opportunity to have students have a real audience. And this, I believe, does that exactly. Action Research Project to Change the World. This was a project done by another one of our fantastic high school teachers at her site. This is an ongoing project that she's done, and she shared with us how she's done this in the past and how she makes this an opportunity for her students to learn about their school community, about their larger community, and to study that and prepare materials to share with one another about their school community, and looking from the perspective of changing the world and what's valuable for them. Right. So, and then this one, you guys, the California ballot proposition infographics. If you live in California, if you're listening to this, you definitely want to look at this. Mm-hmm. California, we endure a lot of propositions. They can be confusing, and getting young people involved in understanding them. And it can be extremely empowering to students to be able to share with their families what they've uncovered about what propositions are really looking at and what they mean. And this is a great instructional plan about how to dig into them and study them, create infographics that can be used. I'm lacking in knowledge about what other states do with propositions, but if you are in a state where propositions and ballot initiatives are fairly common, a part of your voting experience, you may find something like this particular one to be of interest as well, even though it refers specifically to California.
Yeah, I when I was looking at this, I thought it was really interesting, the use of infographics in this process and understanding the work. I thought that was a powerful way to think about it. Absolutely.
These 2 humans of our school and how to question the world around you, both of these elementary teachers, I think Amy's a 4th grade teacher and Crystal is a 7th and 8th grade teacher, really dug into their local communities and the history of the community. As I mentioned, in Humboldt County, we have many small school districts. So they're embedded in communities where there are rich resources for interviewing older people, interviewing a wide variety of sources to learn about, the ultimate primary sources to learn about the history of their communities. And we are also doing a lot with rivers up here, advocacy for rivers, and with, we have a sizable Indigenous population here in Humboldt County, and some very important work going on very currently having to do with undamming some of our rivers and exploring our river resources and how valuable those are to the community at large, as well as to our indigenous populations and their traditions. So, and then this last one is mine, and I am an advocate for getting kids involved and understanding the importance of voting. I believe in pounding that message hard, starting at 5th grade if possible, and all the way through high school. And I do a project that I go out to high schools and do much of these exact same things, where we go out and talk about why vote, what kinds of things do we what do we see as issues in our community, in our life, and who are the decision makers about those issues, and what can we do to go about choosing some things to, how will we influence those decision makers? In addition to voting, if you're in the 5th grade, if you're a bit far away from voting opportunities, for what you are interested in, the changes you want to make, by going to the people, the decision makers, school board, principal, we have board of supervisors here, county government. And so this is kind of an action plan to get kids excited, thinking about things they want to change and how they can actually go about starting to make that happen, very much with the concept of empowerment.
That's great. Thank you, Anne.
You bet.
That's that collection. And so this was another collection, but it's also another study group, is what
Yes, exactly.
you organized,
So,
right?
and this was, I was kind of one of the 2 leads on that last one, which is why I'm as knowledgeable about those resources as I am. In this, we had a different lead who was very passionate about using primary sources and connecting them with art. And I think the collections here with, this one with Oscar Howe, great
It's beautiful, yeah.
It's some really, and this also the visual history. And I love the fact that we also had a national parks one in this as well. But yeah, that one, the national and local parks past and present, has some wonderful archival pictures and current pictures for students to look at, some fantastic history. And these teachers worked hard to mine resources that were visually very engaging. And I think that their strategies that they use in these lesson plans could be paired with a variety of different visual images.
Yes, yeah.
Conversely, some of these images, I mean, how can you get away with how amazing that picture of that giant log there is? That image alone could be useful in a variety of other situations with teachers across the nation, as far as I'm concerned. We just have to have had some really, biggest, tallest trees in the world here in my county, and massive as well. So these, I think, the use of primary sources and art together, I think, is kind of a unique way of looking at primary sources. Traditionally, I think teachers think about primary sources as being speeches and letters and diary entries and, created at the time, but art is a tremendous, art and visual images is another hugely rich way that students can get a window into the history topics and the history of a topic, and then ideally have the opportunity to express themselves potentially using art themselves. So in some cases they look at poetry, in some cases they look at actually creating another piece of art based on what they've learned by studying these artists and these images.
Yeah, I remember looking at this one too. I mean, and there's several of these that I learned new, I could go to the artist website and see a whole new piece of, a whole new body of work that I'd never seen before. But I know that this one also, that, like you said, this is very specific to this artist, and it's also about how you can work with a local artist and study a local artist in your own community. So it's definitely both.
And also, if you look on that one, it was talking about the world renewal of this particular tribal organization here in Humboldt County, but that concept is not exclusive to this region.
Yeah,
and I think maybe even they're the world renewal. She has a fantastic painting and information about that. And this uses the, see, think, wonder, visual image, accessing visual images and visual learning strategies to look at this and look at the pieces, and how fun that would be to even just to take this and compare it with images from other cultures. I
Right.
think really valuable and really exciting. So.
Great.
So there's all of these lessons. One of our goals was, we have kind of a fairly similar format we asked the teachers to follow with resources that people coming onto the website could link on, and then information about, other places to go, kind of step-by-step information, and then also potentially ways to reach out to the creator of this lesson plan if a teacher across the country has questions or would seek something more.
That's great. They were very thoughtfully put together.
Oh, thank
And
you.
this is the third one, right?
And this was a smaller group, but we did have some amazing, this first one is for those of you who use document-based questions, I think they're fantastic. I'm a retired history teacher and language arts teacher, and I use document-based questions a lot. And this teacher did something that I thought was absolutely amazing. She created her own document-based question series with
Nice.
usually there's a series of images with questions, and then a response that usually ends in some sort of a final written piece. And she put together all this information about Indian removal and land acquisition that I think would be super interesting and valuable to middle school teachers and high school teachers around the country. And then this other one, the Gasky to Orleans Road controversy. These are two high school teachers who are in one district, but from two different high schools, came together and they actually went to Cal Poly Humboldt and went to, there's a historical history room, I forget, the local history room up in the
Right.
or something, and they dug in and found a bunch of great stuff. This story is of tremendous interest because this is a story from Humboldt County that went all the way to the US Supreme Court, this debate. And so this has, they've got some amazing archival pictures here. But I think if you're focused, if you're a history teacher and you're doing some work talking about Supreme Court cases, this is one that local story and really interesting about diverse needs for peace for land and pressing back against using land that has been stolen for other purposes, and talking about the importance of tribal sovereignty on these sacred lands, I guess is what this is really about. And they did a fantastic job, and they were very excited about this because both of them felt they would absolutely be able to use this in their classrooms. And you can see they've got some tremendously good case studies here that they've listed that other
I was
teachers.
gonna say they pulled together a whole set of case studies. Really,
They did a ton of work on this. These are two truly outstanding teachers, and they really pulled the resources about our local situation, but also brought in things that would be of interest and value to teachers across the country as well.
Great, wonderful. Thank you so much for walking us through these. I think they're really powerful resources, and I want to make sure that everybody has access to them. So we'll make a link to them with this video so people can go right there and check them out themselves.
Fantastic.
So it sounds like community, just started going back to your initial reflections about this project, and community feels like a really important thing that you developed in this. And what were the implications for the teachers themselves, and for you and for the teachers themselves, of doing this work together?
Well, I think, as I said, that there's beauty in just bringing teachers together from a diversely huge county and seeing the similarities and being able to share ideas and thoughts. But I also felt that the comments that I got from a lot of these teachers was that they had learned so much about local history that they didn't know. Some of the teachers who participated are longtime residents of Humboldt County. Some are relatively new. We're lucky enough, because we have a university here, that people come up to go to the university and then they stay. And we love that. But sometimes they are not as well versed in the history of our county and the various pieces. and the resources that are available through our local historical societies, which were part of this, our local tribal organizations, which were part of this, and our local university. So I had a number of teachers say, I've only been in this county for 5 years, and I was amazed to see how many resources are available. I was thrilled to learn so much about our community and to see these, we had professors from Cal Poly Humboldt more than willing to come and share books that they had written and share with us their insight on climate change and on Indigenous practices and traditions here. That part, I think, was really, really wonderful. I did have one of the teachers, for example, said, prior to signing up for this program, I had no idea local opportunities such as these existed for teachers. I really enjoyed connecting to educators around the county that I would not have met otherwise. And then this teacher and help this individual to feel seen. And I think that's one of the big messages I think all teachers are hoping to continue to focus on in all the work I'm doing with teachers is we want our kids to feel seen. We want our teachers to feel seen, and we want our kids to feel seen. And I think that's the power of this, that these teachers felt seen and felt seen in other aspects of other people's projects. People were coming together and saying, somebody be sharing what they had done on their topic, and somebody else say, oh, my grandfather was involved in that. And, it was this great bringing together of resources. So we realized we're all part of this shared community. That it's not to say that things are easy and that we never argue or that, we're like everywhere else in the country. But I think that feeling seen by each other and being able to offer things to our students to help them feel seen is super important, and I think resonates here, frankly.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing this. That's I'm really excited that you all were able to do this work, and even more excited that you're able to share it with us at the NWP website. So I'm thrilled to have these resources, and we will share them around. And yeah, please, thank your team for all the energy and the efforts they put into this work.
You bet. And conversely, I mean, I'm so grateful to the National Writing Project and to you, Christina, for all the help that you gave to me. And then also for the National Endowment for the Humanities, that they saw this as an opportunity. And here's my little county, and we had this incredibly rich experience. I'm so grateful that we were able to do this and that these kinds of opportunities exist. And National Writing Project made this happen. I hope those teachers who are listening, I'm thinking, look around, find out where National Writing Project is in your community. There, we have state writing projects all around and county writing projects based out of universities. And it's been such an enriching experience for me to work with the Redwood Writing Project over many, many years, and as a teacher, and learned so much. And I just appreciate the opportunities this brought to me and to the teachers here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.